Thursday, April 16th edition of the Foam Community Call. We're super excited to have you calling in from your homes and hanging out with us once again. This edition of the Foam Community Call is going to feature some exciting demos from our amazing winners of the Gitcoin Sustain Web3 hackathon. We've got a range of demo projects from a range of awesome participants, from a new community forum tool to seeing foam map on mobile, to some really exciting AR, VR stuff. After we hear from these guys, we're gonna open up the floor for general ideas from all of you. We've noticed that map products are really on the rise. It's truly Foam's time to shine these days, from things like Google and Apple are creating to things Baidu Maps in China are creating to just cell phone heat maps. But at Foam, we're actively looking to fund projects that enable the phone map to be particularly helpful in light of COVID or the pandemic and social distancing measures, and also withholding phone values. So let's get started hearing from our winners. David Hodge, who created 0x Maps. Do you want to go first and show us your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So let me go ahead and share a screen. I got a quick slide to put together for everybody. All right, so how's that look? Can everybody see this? Perfect. All right, so yeah, name's David Hodge. I created what I named 0x Map. At the start, it's essentially a Android app that leverages AR Core and the Foam POIs to create a sort of visual, more interactive experience given the POIs. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the mobile space for about 10 years, been within the Ethereum world for about 3. I've done personal projects, consulting work, worked at early stage startups, venture capital, and also as a technical founder. And through that time, I've worked with quite a few of well, frankly, probably everything that comes to the mobile mapping space. So Google Maps, Street Maps, Mapbox, and obviously Foam. So a lot of different experience across the board of understanding the different frameworks and kind of the pros and cons. So a little bit about 0x Map. Like I said, it's kind of to try to bring a visual experience to the Foam PO. So it combines your location, your device, so using kind of the standard location stack, GPS, which is really what kind of centralizes you and locates you within the world. Augmented reality and specifically AR Core on the Android side. So it kind of gives you a lot of the out of the box, call it 3D, tooling you might need for this. And again, leveraging the Foam POIs. As the kind of the core of the data model. And also there is a mapping element to it, just to kind of help people have an extra reference point or frame of where they are within the world. So that uses OpenStreetMaps and Mapbox. Trying to continue on that open source process. And here's a couple visuals out of the app. You'll see, for example, taking some of the POIs out of New York City, shows them on the map itself. You also can then have I'll show you a video of the augmented reality piece, but then there's also some extra highlights here. For example, if there's no Foam POIs in a given area where a person is, for example, we just help give them a quick link to drop them right into, guide them to setting up some POIs in their location. And then also, again, doing some general metadata. So if you click on a particular POI, it gives you some expanded understanding of what it is, some of the details, et cetera. And then here's a quick video. So hopefully this loads, video within a video. So again, this is kind of quick and dirty, just loaded up to a specific POI because it can help sort of triangulate down the road. So that's kind of high level what it is. Handy, helpful augmented reality framework. Challenge right now on the mobile side, especially with tons of different libraries. They also don't work well with each other, issue in itself. So it's not general JavaScript with the world where it's sort of plug and play with all of the various tooling that exists. Other apps that already existed. So MetaMask has, as they come about, we can kind of keep expanding there. POIs, there's obviously a lot of variance by location for where they're at. In there. So like obviously in the middle of New York City, there's a lot of POIs versus, maybe somewhere this in terms of how the app is displaying it, how much it would definitely be improved. Sometimes you put that into the user's hands, or maybe we can just automatically kind of do that. So thoughts there. And we've already talked with the Foam team a little bit about to sort of help contribute to the problem. So some of the initial ideas, and these are very high level, they would obviously require a bit more technical discussion, but validation or just representation of the hours at a given point of interest. So those are obviously a very dynamic factor right now. Hours are changing all the time. How often can we validate those? That's something I think of importance. Some machine learning automation as well for detecting some various items that are in stock. So obviously we're all worried about toilet paper, paper towels, and masks, so is there some way we could train these models? For example, while, if you're using that augmented reality view we have, it wouldn't, not to downplay this, but it'd be almost as simple as plugging in something like TensorFlow. And if anybody's familiar with the machine learning world, you can build a TensorFlow model that's trained to look specifically for, again, like the high levels of toilet paper, paper towels, masks, things of high importance right now. And we can generally just, as you're moving around at a given POI, we know you're at that location, we know that POI exists, and we can generally kind of build some correlative data out of what are these items stock levels, or if they're out of stock. And I think also that could tie to price index tracking I mentioned here as well. That's also a fairly low hanging fruit in the sense that detecting currencies and prices within the scope of a machine learning model is fairly easy to tackle. So it's just a matter of kind of correlating that to what the item is, and as well as the POI. On the other call we had as well, it was mentioned, like specifically in California, they're generally posting these sort of papers up front at like a store, for example, saying, okay, we have 100 rolls of paper towels and here's the price of them, that kind of thing. So that would actually be, if more stores, or maybe we can even incentivize POIs to do something along those lines of providing a very streamlined, simple way for us to help, index all of these, call them data points. And I guess there's kind of the extra outlier question is what exactly would be an enticing incentive model for all this? Like what would the community like to see to help incentivize either themselves or trying to bring other people on board to make this really work? Obviously, it kind of needs a very deep level of community involvement to make it accurate and make it efficient, and really make it, provide value back to that community building it. So that would definitely, we'd love to hear feedback on that side as well from the community. And yeah, the very last, it's just a link to the GitHub. If you want to dive in, feel free to poke it, pull out problems, put a pull request in. I'd love to see some help. And again, I linked extra things, Google developers for AR stuff, if you want to dive into that as well. There's a lot of interesting stuff. Personally, I think it's just like the blockchain space where we're still in the infancy of it. AR's got a long ways to go, but there's a lot of possibilities. So, definitely get involved. And I put my Twitter, if you wanted to follow me on Twitter, or if you want to explore any of my other ramblings for the rest of the world. So yeah, so that's everything from 0x Map.
Awesome, David. Yeah, that was super fun, one of the winners in projects. And I'm excited to hopefully use it to help with my social distancing practices. I wanted to ask you, because it's so awesome, about how long did that take you to build? Or was it super challenging, or was it pretty?
I'm trying to think back. I mean, it wasn't overly challenging. I mean, obviously, like I said, I've been in the mobile world for quite a long time. So there's a lot of muscle memory on kind of just ramping up a project fairly quickly. But at the same time, I've also worked with the foam APIs for the POIs, specifically with other projects. So, very familiar with sort of the data points, the data structures. So a lot of that rapid development was fairly straightforward. Really, again, it kind of came more trying to find a balancing act between how much data do you display, how much do you query? That was sort of the trickier piece of trying to find something fine-tuned that worked kind of out of the box. And even made some kind of iterative changes towards the end of it to really help improve general usability across the board. So, and there's still a long ways to go. But I don't know, I think if I were to put a time stamp on it, I don't know, maybe it took me like 4 to 5 hours to kind of throw all that together. Obviously, I had some code existing already. So it was kind of like, again, more just test it, fiddle with it. That was what really took it was like an 80-20 process, right? The first 80% took 20% of the time, the last 20% took 80% of my time. So it was just, that drug on the last little bit, but yeah.
David, could you maybe speak to any ideas you might have for like additional smart contracts that would, add more functionality to 0x Map that based off the existing registry?
Yeah, well, so I mean, I think there's quite a few different things floating around out there. I would obviously love to see more. Like I know there's the foam signals that was out for a little bit about when we get to that proof of location process. That'd be really interesting to start looping some of that in. Maybe even like I've actually had outside conversations with Chainlink about some various things, and so maybe looping in as well, kind of what you all did together with the Chainlink. What was it called?
Insight.
Yeah. So going along those similar lines, it could be sort of an interesting process to kind of keep expanding on that front as well.
Cool. Well, good to hear that you had such a expedient experience creating this really cool, fun application. Yeah, I'm looking forward to using it some more. Katya, does anyone from the YouTube community have any questions that they might like to ask? Or we can just let those come as they go along. But that was awesome, David. Thanks so much. So VB Streetz, would you like to go next? This is another Foam Gitcoin hackathon winner who is based in Nairobi and created a really awesome project involving the Foam map on mobile that we're all very excited to use. Or VB, do you want to unmute yourself so we can hear everything we got?
Hey everyone, can you hear me now?
Awesome. Yep, you're perfect.
Yeah, so I'm Mitchell, but I go by VB Streetz in the blockchain world. So yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank Foam for being a funder in the Gitcoin hackathon and also picking my submission as the winner for the mobile-friendly map viewer for Foam location. So yeah, I guess the idea was just to replicate the current Foam map, but make it to be like mobile friendly. And yeah, so a bit about me. Yeah, I'm a full stack developer, but I dabble a bit in the blockchain space in my spare time. Yeah, so yeah, I guess yeah, this was a great project to work on. Yeah, so my solution was just implement a full screen map, and then have primary navigation, and then so you'd have various tools in a map. So for example, you can view layers, you can view your wallet. Yeah, so it's just the same as the features that are in the current map. So sorry, like I said, maybe I'll just demo how it looks like in mobile. Yeah, so this is how it looks like here. So if you're in a mobile application, this is how it look like. Yeah, so you have your your primary navigation here, like your main toolbar. Then you can access the different tools. Yeah, and it's also themable. So yeah, everyone is implementing dark mode nowadays. So that was cool. And yeah, so like we have this first feature here where you can just view. So maybe I'll just pan to the West Coast. Yeah, so you can come here, can view the different points of location. Yeah, so yeah, you can view the various types of POIs. And you can toggle which ones you like to see. So yeah, so when you do that, it automatically filters the points of locations. Yeah, and then the other feature, of course, is to being able to register points of location. So yeah, I guess I can just demo one. Maybe I'll just demo one here. So at the moment, I'm trying to crowdsource hospitals around Nairobi. Yeah, because of the pandemic. So yeah, we have one here. So it's called Malta Hospital. It's it's one of the best in Kenya. So just try and register it here. I don't know if I should show it in the mobile view. Yeah, okay, good. So you have the name. Yeah, so yeah, the user will just come here and click register, the point of location. Yeah, so select the address. So let's maybe put the address. Already have the details here. See something going on in chat. Okay. the address, then the description. Yeah, then yeah, this help, of course, then phone number. Just a short website. Yeah, then of course, when you're registering a new point of location, you have to stay confirm. So it should, yeah, prompt your MetaMask. So I already have some form. So yeah, yeah. Once that is done, then yeah, yeah. I guess I need to add some progress, yeah, just to be able to track the transaction, and yeah, hopefully this will appear here for some time. And yeah, so I think I was able also to add the other feature of being able to challenge existing points. Let's see, so I'll put some locations here. Yeah, so on a mobile phone, you can just tap here and yeah, challenge a point. So, yeah, and yeah, I was hoping to add the other features, that is signaling, and the other one is it voting. Yeah, so I'll be working on adding those as well. And but at the moment, I'm looking into seeing how I can adopt the map to provide solutions around the current pandemic. So, for example, maybe allowing people to, like enabling crowdsourcing, for example, points of interest. For example, in Kenya, in Nairobi here, there are social programs to help people, yeah, like donate some food or clothing. So yeah, people could register, yeah, the locations they know that's being done, or people also maybe those who are going to hospitals, they could record how long they are, well, like have to wait to be served at the hospital. So yeah, stuff like that, and definitely open to getting more, I guess, how do I say it, like, yeah, other people to give me more feedback on what stuff I could add to the map. But it's, yeah, that is the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. This is great. We've been waiting for a phone map viewer that's as efficient and easy to use this for a while, because we all love our phones, like many of those in the world do. So VB Streetz, I think that you were able to do this pretty quickly too, because I remember you joined the Gitcoin hackathon phone channel like maybe the last day or so. So how was the process building this sophisticated and very useful app?
Yeah, so I think I'm in the same shoe as David. So I've also done a bit of JS work, mostly client work. So yeah, like building front ends using Mapbox and ArcGIS S3. So yeah, I used a bit of what I'm been using. So I was able to do that over a weekend. But yeah, I guess yeah, it was fun learning, like, because it was the first time like working with smart contracts and stuff. So it's a good way to learn how to interact with smart contracts. And
so I also think it's really great to just have not only mobile, but independent kind of map interface where you can interact with the protocol on Ethereum and almost, bypass the official map.phone.space that we host. It kind of shows that taking advantage of this decentralized protocol that exists on Ethereum, anybody can build their own front end and customize how it looks, add new features, and it's really great to see you make progress here.
Cool. Yeah, and I've seen, yeah, like right now I'm also working on a project that I think uses Tendermint. I don't know, or yeah, I've seen you guys are also like planning on is it like building a semi-synchronous network?
Yeah, for the publication, we use Tendermint consensus. And we're a functional programming based team. So we recently completed a grant from the Interchain Foundation to rewrite the Cosmos SDK in Haskell. It's called Kepler. So there's a Cosmos SDK in Go. Now there's one also in Haskell. And we're using that to build the next part of Foam. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if like one of the goals would be like maybe to enable people to add locations without maybe like having to install MetaMask, or because yeah, like here in Kenya, I think people just want to be able to use like blockchain based tools without having to.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to be able to add to make the user experience more seamless for those who are not familiar with things like MetaMask and gas costs, etc.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could even see this working very well in unison with some of the other awesome projects, like David's project, in terms of being able to effectively create a POI just sort of on the fly there. So we have a question from the YouTube viewers as to what is the primary goal of this foam tech. So for sort of all the foam technology projects that you'll see presented, the primary goal would be to uphold the foam mission statement of enabling crowdsourced tooling and decentralized location services, which is very exciting to see this vibrant foam ecosystem of builders right now building these great products and helping us maintain that very laudable mission statement. So thanks so much, BB Streetz. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead and ping them in the chat and we'll go ahead and ask our winners here. And we're hoping to continue to see this project come even more and more to life. So we'll be talking more, I'm sure, Mitchell. Awesome. So let's move on to another winner, Abhimanyu, who I believe is based in India. So also another part of the world. Abhimanyu, do you want to say hi and start to show your stuff?
Yeah. I'll be sharing some screenshots because the emulator is kind of laggy. Just give me a second. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Looks good.
Okay, cool. Okay. I developed a Flutter client for phone maps. Like the code is so that same thing can be run on iOS and Android together with same code base. Like you won't have to change anything, and it can run on both Android and iOS with similar UI. So from getting started, like simply you'll have to enter a private key, or you can skip that part. Like if you want to interact with map on the blockchain level, you can enter a private key, or you can skip that part. And after that, you will see something like this screen. Is it visible? No. Give me a second. After that, you will see the screen. Like in this, you will be seeing all the nearby point of interest and everything. And if you click on that add marker, you are seeing that plus marker. You can add new POI on the map. And if you click on some POI, you will see something like this. Like it will show you all the tags, owner of that POI, and like the status of that POI. Now you get the option to challenge the place. Like if that doesn't exist in the real world, you can challenge it. And if you can challenge it, you can stake your tokens and reason for the challenge, and you can hit the challenge button. Simple as that. And if you run out of your allowance for this foam contract, you can simply change the registry as well as the voting contract. You can change allowance for both of the contracts using the mobile application. And if you are opting for adding a new POI, you have to enter some details like this, and you can choose the tags and submit the POI. And one more interesting thing is like it gives you notifications. Like if you are roaming around in the city and you're nearby some POI, you will see a notification like this. Like there are around 5 places near you, and you can tap on it and see, it will open up the map for you. And apart from that, there is a dashboard. Like it shows the last transaction you ran, so that your multiple transactions doesn't get stuck. And apart from that, you can see all the how many tokens you have approved for either of the contract, like registry and voting. And it is simple. That's it. Apart from that, you can check out my GitHub repo. It is like ABHIMANYU121, Abhimanyu121 basically. Let me share it. Let me share that repo as well. There's-
Sounds good.
there you go. This is the repo. You can check out the Dart code. It's written in mostly Dart, apart from some platform specific stuff. And you can see all the features listed here, technical specification, everything. I have provided private key that you can use to test out the application. It has some pre-approved foam tokens and everything. And you can have screenshots, and everything is on the repo. That's it.
Awesome. This looks good. This is another thing that we're very excited to get using. The idea of just being notified whenever we're near a POI is something we've been wanting to have. So it's good to see this come to fruition. Besides what you mentioned, is there anything else you could see that might be cool or useful for what you've built in terms of the new life that everyone's taken on due to the growing pandemic and social distancing practices?
I had an idea like if we, somehow officials of government can, like, if they're catching someone, they can put a POI on the map, and that
Yeah.
will, and as a person walks near some POI, they will be notified like, stay away from this place. This has been marked as a potential place for corona spread, and people
Right.
can avoid that place. And to improve the user experience, like some layer 2 might be used, so and some meta transactions, so that everyone can use it. Like crypto stuff is really hard to use on the first side, so like people won't be able to use without providing some solution to them.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. In India, you mentioned to me, I think in a previous conversation we're having, that there's already some sort of interesting applications out there. Do you want to maybe say a couple words about those?
That application works like almost everyone in India have installed the application, and as it works on, it uses Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to check out the people you have passed nearby from. And if there's some person on the certainly develops it in terms of corona, and then we can the government can check like how many people this person has crossed paths with, and notify those people to get themselves checked timely, so that they don't spread it to other people. Like something similar can be done using foam, like marking the POI of the person's location on the person's location history to tell others to avoid that place, or like tell others like, if you have been to this place, please get yourself checked.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Abhimanyu. That looks really good. Ryan, I think we had a question from Crypto Overlord 666. Will Foam continue to be an ERC20, or do you have future plans to include Foam transitioning to another blockchain?
Yeah, so while Foam will maintain being an ERC20 on Ethereum, as we mentioned for Foam location, we're using Tendermint and Cosmos. Cosmos's mission statement is about enabling inter-blockchain connectivity. So there will be bridges that are set up by different entities of ways to connect Ethereum to Cosmos. And that allows you to kind of move your tokens to a different blockchain. So they do not have an ERC20 standard. It would be under this kind of Tendermint-based token standard. But that means that we're not saying you can't go back. So let's say the Foam map or the Foam signals might live on Ethereum. The master Foam location contracts might live on Ethereum, but you're able to leave Ethereum with your tokens and then safely come back. We're also exploring that with things like optimistic rollups, where you can kind of eliminate the need for gas on Ethereum on a layer 2. And that's kind of similar, where you stake your ERC20 tokens and then they get recreated somewhere else. So we are planning to do that, but it will still be an ERC20 and that you can go back to Ethereum. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Abhimanyu. And anyone in the community has ideas about what could be sort of added on to that, we'd love to work with you all to bring even more light to this project. So next up, we have Slava, who is from an awesome project called Relevant, and he's created a really cool integration for Foam and Relevant, which could end up being our new and most favored community platform. So I'll let Slava, who's a good friend of Foam, introduce himself and tell us about what he's done.
Hi everyone. Can you see my can you see my screen?
Yeah, it looks good.
Awesome. So I run a project called Relevant, which is it's sort of like Reddit, but it's blockchain enabled, and it has a unique reputation system, which enables us to basically rank posts, sort of ranking posts according to popularity. It ranks posts according to the reputation of all the people that support it. And the reputation is domain specific. So we already have a few different communities on Relevant. This is kind of the main feed. And this, I'm showing you the dev version. So there's not a lot of current stuff, but the live version actually has, it's very active. Lots of people are using it. And we started out with like the main kind of purpose of, or the main use case of sharing articles and commenting on articles. But the work we did for the Foam integration is to expand the use case to support arbitrary kind of markdown posts. So you can write blog posts, you can insert code blocks, all of this kind of stuff. And then another major piece of work we did is to integrate, to really fully interconnect all the blockchain data. We're enabling signing up and signing in with 3box. So I can demonstrate that. So if I click on sign in with 3box, I can verify my MetaMask account, and it automatically populates data from my 3box profile. So I have my image in there already. I have my name. Can add my email. Let's see. Oh, I'm already using it somewhere. And my username is I already have a few accounts. All right. So now I'm fully signed in and I can make posts. So let me just demo. I'm going to demo markdown posts in this community because I actually don't have enough tokens in this account to post in the Relevant community, which we'll get to. So I can, in here, I can post, let's see, Foam, let's do Foam space. Let's share a link first. So I can share links, add the description from the website, create a post. But now we can also do markdown. So I can say, okay, my first blog post. And we'll do a code block. And we can preview our markdown here. Oh, I misspelled hello. Some code. So now we have a markdown post with code, which is very exciting. And finally, so we created this foam community. Yep, we're still, there we go. Dismiss this. Yep, why? Something's not reloading. So this is the foam community. So what we've done here is we actually, when you try to post in the background, we actually check, we take your Ethereum address and we look up all the metadata associated with your Ethereum address in relation to the foam smart contracts. So we can actually check to see if you've ever created points of interest on the foam map and also your foam balance. And the foam admins can set parameters for participation in this forum. So here we see we need at least 1 point of interest to be able to post on the forum, and we need to have a balance of at least 100 foam tokens to be able to post on the forum. So this is a custom integration we built for this project. And I think I'm actually, yeah, an admin, so you can so you can actually see the settings you can enable. So these are so you can actually here update the number, kind of the requirements for participation.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that those are pretty solid participation parameters. We actually even have a question from the community: what tokens are required to post in this forum? So like Slava showed, for specifically this foam forum, it would be at this moment 1 POI and 100 foam tokens. But we could basically, as Slava just showed, we could literally change that in the next couple minutes or whenever we so please. So if anyone from the community has any ideas of what would be effective in maintaining these sort of quality discussions to maybe a higher number of POIs or a lower number of POIs or more or less foam tokens, we're totally amenable to that as we move forward with this really cool looking product.
Yeah, another thing I should mention is that the reputation, we also have the internal reputation scores connected to the amount of points you've added. So the more points you've added on the foam map, the higher your reputation will be once you first join. And then from there on, there's a set of moderators that have high reputation by default, right? And then the reputation from them kind of emanates to other members based on participation. So then if you're posting really quality material, posting really insightful comments, and those comments are upvoted with other members whose reputation is high, your reputation goes up, and then in turn you have more impact on what ranks highly within this forum.
This is really exciting project, Slava, but I know you just kind of touched on it, but taking a step back, can you maybe just speak about the kind of mission statement of Relevant and how kind of this prediction market reputation newsfeed is kind of just set up for those who are just not familiar with Relevant on a whole?
Yeah, definitely. So the basic idea, so I mentioned the reputation system, and kind of to go back to, right, we have all these different communities, and the reputation systems are different for each community. So you might have a high reputation in the main Relevant feed, you might have, you know, a low reputation in the economics community. So they're all distinct, they're all unrelated. And the idea is kind of taking this concept of Reddit, right? But on Reddit, if you have a really big community, the rankings are dictated by popularity alone, which makes it really easy to attack also. So sometimes, there's multiple cases where one subreddit will attack another subreddit and just pile on and start upvoting just random kind of trolly posts. You also have this thing, similar thing, if like a whole bunch of new users all of a sudden show up that don't understand the culture of the community, don't understand the context, it kind of messes up all the rankings already. So we build the reputation system to prevent these kind of cases, to make communities more resilient to both attacks, to kind of tons of new members showing up, and kind of to help enforce the culture and the ethos of all specific online communities. And it also provides a much more flexible structure for moderation. So on Reddit, you have just a few members that are moderators by default, and then it's kind of this hard, they just have superpowers basically. They can like remove posts or leave posts. Here, the concept of moderation again is tied to reputation. So the more reputation you have, the more impact you have on rankings. If a post goes into the negative, then we can like hide it by default, but there's no single person responsible for that. It's kind of a community effort. And again, it's resilient because, if 1,000 new users show up and they start, downvoting something, that's going to have no impact. It only has impact if you can only have an impact on rankings if you've earned some reputation already. And the other aspect of relevant, which I haven't touched on yet, is this cryptocurrency component, which acts as a separate separate dynamic. And it's almost like a game on top of the reputation system. And it's meant for users to be able to participate, even if you might not have you might not be a user that's posting a lot. Maybe you're there just to consume stuff, but you should still have an impact. And you should still kind of be able to engage and express your opinions. And we do that through tokens and through kind of, it's sort of like placing bets on what you think will be ranked highly. So I'll give you a taste of that. So we can go, let's go to, so we need a new post for this. So I'm going to upload I'm actually going to upload this link. And it should let me bet on it also. Oh, hold on. There we go. So here I can place a bet on this post. All right, so I can do more or less tokens as I see fit. And how this works is after 3 days, we look at which posts are the highest ranked, and we mint a bunch of new tokens and we distribute them to users that bet on these posts based on how much they bet. And it also, there's like underneath, there's like a bonding curve dynamic. So if you're the first one and you bet a little bit, you get the biggest chunk of the reward. And if you're the last one, your bet is not worth as much. So basically there's this game dynamic where you can bet on posts, and you can see you have this feed where it tells you what kind of your pending bets. So this post hasn't gotten a lot of enough upvotes yet to be able to earn rewards, so there's no pending rewards yet. But if there are a bunch of people were upvoting this, it would be showing a pending amount.
Yeah, that looks great, Slava. This is such a cool looking tool and all as well. It's a lot more sort of interesting and vibrant looking than most of the community messaging forums I've seen. So the community that is commenting on YouTube also has some awesome feedback to ask us. Kay Hunt was wondering, what are the KPIs that we're going to use to measure the success of a new message and forum platform? So like Slava touched on, what's really cool about Relevant and what we find to be a key performance indicator is its ability to maintain these quality discussions, but also enabling everyone to participate in the quality discussions that has something quality to contribute. And that happens through this reputation mechanism, which brings us to our next question is, can a user not have a token and still participate? So like you saw, we can change the parameters as to the number of tokens or the number of POIs they have for participation. At this moment, I can say from my standpoint as a moderator of the forum that we would want to maintain some token threshold at the minimum. But Slava, would it be possible to use Relevant even within the foam integration without any foam tokens at all as a parameter?
Yeah, you could definitely set, so if you set it to 0, for example, right, then it eliminates the requirement. So you can definitely, you could even do it kind of on a case-by-case basis where, for example, you can set it for 0 as a default, but then if you see a lot of like people showing up and spamming the forum, then you raise the threshold and then you kind of raise that requirement to filter out the spam.
Totally. Yeah, and so we love that sort of flexibility of allowing us to best manage these healthy and productive discussions as they come in. So we have another question that's been asked a couple times. How will foam map the streets, buildings, rivers, bridges, traffic jam, human rush, etc., with having a satellite in the space? So how foam protocol will capture the image of objects? So that is a good question. We currently use OpenStreetMap and Mapbox as a base map. So we could easily use a satellite-based one too. But thank you for that question, Katie Colt. But to go back to Slava's project, Relevant, we're really excited to see users like you guys with valuable things to say come on and see that value sort of rewarded in how much attention you get in posting. Like Slava mentioned before, unlike maybe Telegram, where everyone's post sort of has the same credibility and view in spite of the quality of it, something like Relevant really takes us to the next level and making sure that everyone that joins has this sort of beautiful UI as to what could be deserving of a lot of attention and thought and discussion. So we're excited to transition to Relevant very soon and are open for feedback from all of you as to how we can make that transition easiest and a fit for everyone's needs.
Yeah, I'll also add, we got a lot of feedback on the discourse platform from people reaching out privately that they wanted to make sure that those contributing were actually had a skin in the game and were stakeholders in the protocol. And so while we're open for feedback of what parameters we may set for the relevant community, kind of one of the core goals is to actually ensure that those really participating in debates or discussions, they actually have been members and participating on the blockchain. So what's really awesome about this relevant-based platform that rewards you in reputation and has its own token is that it can also listen to the blockchain and actually determine, based on your account, what you've done for the protocol. Are you actually a contributor? Are you a worker? And if you want to participate, well, you need to actually use the product. So I think that's actually a really cool approach.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this will be a great way for us to optimize even more success and thought and feedback on a lot of the awesome projects that are winners from the recent Gitcoin hackathon that just presented to you all posted. So maybe very soon in the near future, I can start posting some of the GitHubs to those. And if anyone from the community has thoughts or comments on how they'd like to contribute, then we can use this relevant platform to help feed those healthy discussions and allow us all to flourish. Do we have any other questions about how to use Relevant or what we'd maybe like to see? Looks like we're pretty good. But yeah, I love it. This is beautiful. Slava, I'm excited to start getting after this.
So I do see we have some questions. One was directed at me, which says, can we explain what efforts we're focused on currently? We mentioned Cosmos and the Haskell SDK. Is that all we're focused on? So the Haskell SDK was finished and released earlier this year. So it's called Kepler. You can find information about it on our blog post, which links to its own homepage. Kepler is open for anybody to use, not just for Foam. And so that's something that we already completed and is out there. So anyone can now use that to build a Cosmos-based application in Haskell if they want to. So what we're focusing on the blockchain aspect is the interchain blockchain communication protocol known as IBC. And that will allow these individual Cosmos applications to connect to each other and or back to Ethereum. I see someone from the Cosmos team was just posting on the Discord asking about our progress there. And so we're currently need to make a Tendermint-like client to enable using IBC, but IBC is currently not live. They're running this kind of game of zones participation aspect. We're also focused on that Jessica's helping lead is enabling the developer community to get more applications using the Foam Map API, especially as post-COVID-19, these become kind of more pertinent to actually come to consensus about what's open, what's not, where you can go. And also, we just recently released our newsletter where there was updates about us being finalists in an MTA subway challenge, where we are demonstrating our radio technology for them. And our main focus now is currently with a number of other potential partners about pilot tests and strategic partnerships for deployment, as well as our own test net of radios in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and determining the best path for the public network launch once all these Cosmos interchain pieces are in place. And we are, though, currently focusing on how to work on all of that remotely, as testing Foam location requires tracking moving assets and putting things outdoors or in windows and moving around. And so we have found a solution for that with new upgrades to how our network server architecture works so that we could actually update the software on the radios completely remotely. And our next update quite soon will kind of shed light on the test net we have installed that's currently running in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, though it's quite difficult to track them ourselves or move around throughout the Navy Yard, as currently based in New York, at least, we're on lockdown. But definitely look for our next update or check the newsletter that went out this week for more information about the work done with the MTA. There's another question about Foam protocol being dedicated to Oracleize location services. It's definitely kind of a semantic question of if you imagine it to be in Oracle, kind of is to some extent, although we want it to be as fraud-proof and fault-tolerant as possible. With the Foam location, that you can guarantee somebody's location proof is something that is verified. We also, it was talked about on this call that we have worked with Chainlink on this Oracleized way to reward people for mapping. That is not being worked on directly by the Foam team, but another kind of grant development project. And hopefully we'll have that on mainnet soon, where you can actually earn rewards for mapping correctly, and the Oracle of the Chainlink node will actually determine if you're eligible for those rewards. There was a beta of that released around DEF CON last year in a blog post if you want to learn more, and we hope we have details soon on when that will be on mainnet.
Yeah, definitely really exciting to see the progression of that project. I see we have another question too. It's really cool to see photos of the beacon hardware. Will cell phones connect directly to beacons without extra hardware? What barriers are there to making that connection?
Yeah, great question. So we currently have been working in the LoRa-based radio, along with other components like software-defined radios and FPGAs. And so to communicate with that version of the prototype, you need a LoRa transmitter yourself. One of the barriers that could be overcome is that they have these kind of like very small LoRa beacons that also have Bluetooth capabilities, so that you could actually control it from your phone, but you need this extra device. So in the future, LoRa chips may make themselves into phones. But also, we've always said that phone location is ultimately radio agnostic, in that the kind of software and blockchain aspects could run on other radios. So for example, if you could actually, in theory, run that protocol over an LTE network or a 5G network, of course, then you're in a territory of using licensed spectrum where the telcos own it. But in theory, it's possible to run the phone software over something like 5G. And then if everybody has a 5G phone, they could automatically use that service. So in the kind of first prototype or first aspect of launch, you would kind of need a way to talk LoRa. And so there's a way to get a small tracking device and be able to control it from your phone.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely a lot of really exciting things happening, both with the foam team and outside of just the internal foam team. For instance, all of these very talented presenters that we just saw creating very productive applications for us all to use and further the foam mission. So I'd love to thank you all for doing an amazing job in both creating those projects and presenting to us all right now. We're looking forward to seeing more, and we're here to help in any way to move things along as effectively as possible. So thanks so much, David, Slava, Abhimanyu, and BB Streetz, and thanks for taking the time to call in and chat with us all.
Thank you, everybody, and for everyone who tuned in, thank you as well. And if you have ideas or interested in getting involved with the foam grant or a project or a future hackathon, especially now that mapping and location is kind of taking a new importance in the current lockdown domain, definitely reach out. And we understand updates about our progress is really important. Please understand we've had to kind of all relocate, go remote, and spend a lot of energy getting our equipment out of our office as we can't go there. So now that we've all kind of settled into this new normal, definitely look for our next updates coming soon.
Certainly, yeah, it's foam's time to shine. We're here for a moment in the sun, even if we're all working from home. So we can't wait to have another one of these great calls, and we'll see you guys on relevant discussions